Inshallah, today's brief lecture is gonna be about a topic that has generated some discussion, especially in these particular days. And it goes back to ancient times. It's a concept of theology. So we are gonna discuss what is this aspect, what are the controversy, and inshallah what is perhaps the correct opinion. And the topic is about the Mahdi. Many of us have heard this notion of the Mahdi, and it is mentioned in a number of books of hadith, and it is one of the key differences between our theology, Ahl-Sunnah or Sunnism, and the non-Sunni group, majority non-Sunni group. There's two main, so this notion of the Mahdi, and it is one of the fundamental points of difference between us and between them. So firstly, what is the Mahdi? Secondly, what is the evidence of his existence and characteristics? And thirdly, what is some of the historical controversy taken place? And term Mahdi is a title, it's not a name, and it means the rightly guided. From Huda, Mahdi, that who is guided, and so he will guide, and he will guide other people. So the Mahdi is somebody who is correctly guided. He has hidayah. He himself is upon the straight path. Now the term Mahdi is not found in the Quran, meaning as a person going to come, nor is it found in the most authentic of books of hadith, which is Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, but we do find references to the concept in some of the other books, such as the Sunan of Dawud, such as the Mustadrak of al-Hakim, such as the Sunan of Ibn Majah, such as the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. We find a number of traditions about a person. In some of them, his name is mentioned, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. The Prophet ﷺ said, "A man shall come towards the end of times. His name will be my name. His father's name will be the name of my father," meaning Muhammad ibn Abdullah. And in other traditions, his description is given. A man shall come with an aquiline nose and a broad forehead. And in other traditions, the time frame will be mentioned. Towards the end of times, a man shall come. In yet other traditions, the conditions of the time are mentioned. The Prophet said, "There will be a time that is full of injustice and evil, and Allah will send a person who will bring about justice and harmony, justice and equilibrium." So we learn from this that in the hadith literature, there is this notion of somebody coming towards the end of times. His name is gonna be Muhammad ibn Abdullah, and his title, his description will be the Mahdi. Not that his name is Mahdi, it's his description, how you describe him. And he shall come towards the time, the end of times. Now I said there is no explicit reference in Bukhari and Muslim to the Mahdi, but there is implicit reference. There is implied reference in Bukhari and Muslim. For example, in the Sahih Muslim, our Prophet said that when ʿīsā ibn Maryam will come down, your Imam shall be from amongst you. Wa imamukum minkum. The term Imam is used. Scholars have understood this is a reference to the Mahdi, even though it's not explicit. In another hadith, also the Prophet said, when Ṟīsā ibn Maryam comes down, he shall come down in the white minaret in Damascus. They say this is the Umayyad, which was built after the. They say he's gonna come down in the white minaret, and Salatul Fajr Azan will have been, the person will be leading or about, and Ṟīsā ibn Maryam will come down. The person leading will say to Ṟīsā, "You come." And Ṟīsā will say, "No, this is for you, not for me." Now, there is no name given of the Mahdi, but our scholars say this is a reference to the Mahdi. Our scholar says this is a reference to the Mahdi. If this is the case, then we learn the Mahdi is going to be a person who is alive when Ṟīsā and Dajjal are both here, which means the very end of times. If you go back to the lectures here at Epic, the signs of day, I mentioned Ṟīsā and Dajjal. They are of the major signs right before the trumpet is blown. This is at the very end of times. The fact that Ṟīsā comes down and the Mahdi is leading Salah means that the Mahdi will witness this end of times. So the coming of the Mahdi is signaling the beginning of the very end, the last final days on earth now. This concept of Mahdi in our tradition, by our I mean Ahl-Sunnah or Sunniism, it is very clear. This is not a supernatural person with wings. He's gonna fly in the heavens. No, he's a normal human being, flesh and blood. He doesn't have supernatural powers. He doesn't have ilm al-ghaib. Nobody has ilm al-ghaib according to us others than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not say kun fayakun. Only Allah is like this. Rather, he is a righteous human being. And a person with the ummah agrees upon that he should lead them during the time there is gonna be a time of civil war, a time of chaos, and the ummah shall agree. This is the person who shall lead us. This is the characteristic of the Mahdi, and he shall be fighting the Dajjal until Isa alayhi salam comes. He won't be successful against the Dajjal, but he shall fortify the believers waiting for Isa to come. Behind him, believers will be fighting for the Dajjal, and when Isa comes down, Isa will take over and Isa will kill the Dajjal. So the Mahdi, according to our traditions, is a normal human being, a flesh and blood. He has no supernatural powers. He shall be born at the end of times and live a normal life and die, and that will be his demise. Now the other group, the non-Sunni group, the major group, that is, the second largest group of the Ummah, that group has a very different belief about the Mahdi, and they say the Mahdi has already been born. And the Mahdi for the term is 12th Imam. They have 12 Imams according to their theology. From their standpoint, they say the Mahdi has already been born, and the Mahdi is currently alive amongst us, but he is hidden to the masses. He could be anywhere. He could be in this audience. He could be there. He could be here. He is alive and active, helping the poor and performing miracles, and according to them, he has supernatural powers. He knows ilm al-ghaib, and he can control the creation, and they give him powers that are from our perspective not appropriate. Like this is something only Allah has, but from their perspective they say the Imams have it, and this is the 12th Imam who is currently alive, but he isn't in hiding. They say that the Imam is alive but in hiding, and when the Imam returns, he is not gonna be born. He is already born. He's going to be Zuhur. He's gonna become apparent, and he will reveal himself. Kashaf. He will reveal himself. Not that he's gonna be born. According to us, the Mahdi is gonna be born, normal birth, live a normal life. In fact, in one hadith, in the musnad of Imam Ahmad, there's a reference that the Mahdi might not even be pious in his youth, and he will become pious when he becomes older. This phrase is Yuslihullahu fi layla. In one night Allah will rectify him, which means he was not rectified, which means he might have not been the best person. Then one night or something is gonna, and he will become a very pious person. Then people will begin to respect him, and then people shall eventually say, we want you to be in charge. And then the times and the end of times will happen. According to the other group, the Mahdi is currently alive and hidden amongst us, and the Mahdi, when he comes back, the main purpose for that group is not to fight against the Dajjal or to know. It's something that is actually awkward to say, and that is according to them, the Mahdi will bring back the rights of the Ahl Bayt and will exactly revenge upon those that oppose the Ahl Bayt. And if you understand, fine. If not, then don't worry about it. This is one of the awkward topics, flare sectarism. But we try to unify as much as possible. But this is a fact that does. And we try to explain without any sectarianism, provoking any hatred. We are trying to be factual in candidate topics. But fact of the matter is, some people from that group believe that the Mahdi is going to massacre not the followers of the Dajjal, but Muslims who didn't agree with their theology. And that's obviously problematic. That raises sectarianism. Disagree with this. So this is Sunnism. This is non-Sunnism. I didn't mention the term on purpose now. Has there been any controversy within Sunni Islam? Yes, definitely. There has always been dissenting voices even within our tradition. Even, for example, some of the Tabaeen, the students of the Sahaba, they believed that Isa ibn Maryam is going to be the Mahdi. Not that there's going to be a person separate from them. They say when the Prophet is talking about the Mahdi, this is a prediction of Isa, that he is the person who will be rightly guided. There has been that that scenario. Also the founder of the Abbasid Empire, what is his name? Who can tell? The founder of the Abbasids, who was he? The founder, don't Google now, ya Shaykh. Quickly Googling it. Allahuakbar. No, that's the main fighter. Abu al-Jafar al-Mansur is the founder of the Abbasids. His name was Abdullah. His son Muhammad ibn Abdullah, and he gave the laqab al-Mahdi. So one of the Abbasid Khulafa is al-Mahdi Billah, whose name is Muhammad ibn Abdullah. And his father set up the scenario, like hoping his son would be the Mahdi. Allahu Akbar. Interesting, right? He hoped that his son will be the Mahdi. And this is the first time out of many times that people tried to script a Hollywood script to try to bring the catalyst that the Mahdi comes. No, you cannot script Allah's qadr. You cannot script the actual plan. No, you cannot. That's gonna happen. Allah will bring it to happen. You cannot act the act. When the Mahdi comes, he will come. He will be the Mahdi. You cannot write the entire dialogue and pretend you are the Mahdi. Throughout history, more than 40 people. Throughout all of history, we know of at least 40. There are more, I'm sure, that have claimed to be the Mahdi. More than 40, beginning with al-Mahdi Billah, Allahu Akbar, Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Abu Jafar al-Mansur. This is the first, and he is within tradition, Sunnism, right? And there were many others throughout history. Even recently, any Sudanese, where are our Sudanese friends? Okay, you know the Mahdi movement of Sudan, right? The Mahdi movement, they're still around to this day. Yes, there's still a group in Sudan. 150 years ago, somebody claimed to be the Mahdi in Sudan, and he fought the British, and for a while he was successful. Then the British completely, decimated his followers, but the group remains, and he claimed he was the Mahdi. And there is a movement to this day. They consider him to be the Mahdi. In India as well, I don't want to be, but there is a group, some of you know it, that there are a slightly different group than ours. Even though they call themselves Sunni, but they are a slightly different group, and they have a Mahdi there in the tens of thousands. I have met one of two. They're in the tens of thousands, and they have this. And in Iran, there came a fad 200 years ago. What happened? Multiple people claimed to be the Mahdi. Allahu Akbar. And one of the founded the Baha'i movement. What? The Baha'i firqa, its founder was a Muslim who claimed to be the Mahdi, and then he founded and broke away. And another group called the Badis, if you know them, it's also from that time frame. He also said, and that when happened in 1979, I have given multiple lectures about this, right? A person claimed to be the Mahdi in Arabia, in Saudi Arabia, and he hijacked Mecca itself. Some of you who are above the age of 45 to 50, and I have given multiple lectures because I have interviewed dozens of people. I was too young to remember the incident, but by the time I went to study in the University of Medina, many of my teachers were undergraduates when the movement was active. So I interviewed myself multiple people who were aware of this movement, some of whom followed it for a while and then left the movement. So I interviewed myself, eyewitness people who were in the house of this person and discussing plans. I have lots of information, maybe more lectures, because some of it is very sensitive. But in 1979, a person by the name of Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Qahtani, what he did, claimed to be the Mahdi. Now in one hadith in Sunan Abu Dawud, it mentions that the Mahdi shall be given bayah in front of the Kaaba, between the Rukn and the Maqam. Then the Mahdi will take the bayah between the Rukn and the Maqam, i.e. between, when it says Rukn over here, the Maqam Ibrahim. Allahu Akbar. So between the Maqam Ibrahim and the door of the Kaaba, basically the Mahdi will be given the oath of allegiance. This is in Hadith Abu Dawud, and a Hadith in Sahih Bukhari, it mentions that Not by name, because remember, Bukhari and Muslim don't mention the Mahdi by name, but it mentions one of the signs of the end of times is that a righteous man shall flee to Makkah, Allahuakbar, and the armies will be sent against him to kill him, and Allah Azza wa Jal will cause the earth to open up and destroy all the armies, and the man shall be protected. Now our scholars say, this is the Mahdi. The hadith does not say Mahdi, but who else can it be? And this is the prominent position that one of the signs of the Mahdi is that the people will choose him as a leader. The actual leaders will not like the guy. So the actual leaders will want to kill him. He's gonna flee for his life to Makkah. He doesn't have an army. The armies of the Muslim kings, they're gonna be, in Sahih Muslim it says 3 sons of a king are gonna fight for power. And the Kaaba is gonna be, so these are all predictions. If you don't know, 4 years ago when I moved here, I gave a whole long series about the signs of the day. You can listen right here in Epic, and I went over all. So in Sahih Bukhari it mentions that the earth shall open up and Allah will destroy the armies that are sent against the righteous man. The righteous man who can be. In 1979, somebody compiled all these and wrote a Hollywood drama. Astaghfirullah. This person mentally dragon. He said, let me hold the Kaaba hostage and let me do all of these hadith, and Allah Azza wa Jal will send his hidden army, and the earth will swallow up the army of his government, and I will be safe. And so if you know, on the 1st of Muharram in 1400 Hijri, auspicious new day, 1st of Muharram 1400 HE, locked up all of the doors of the Kaaba. He took his 550 people, and what he did, he actually with the armed machine guns hidden, and they held the Kaaba hostage. They had the Imam of the Haram. They took the microphone and they announced the Mahdi had come. There's actual video recordings and audio on YouTube in Arabic, but actual audio recordings, you can listen to them speaking and listen very carefully because it's poor. And the man is quoting the hadith of Abu Dawud. The Prophet said that the Mahdi will come and he will be given bayah in between, and he is, and all of you come and give him bayah. You do not take a hadith and make a Hollywood drama out of it. It happens. You do not expedite it. But they thought this is their job. Of course, hundreds of people were killed. Innocent Hujjaj were killed. For the first time in 1000 years, Tawaf stopped around the Kaaba for 2 weeks. The Kaaba people did not visit it because of their hostage holding, and the army had to attack, and things happened inside the Kaaba, inside the Haram. Allahuakbar, machine guns fighting one another, people died, bloodshed, electrocution, chemical. I have gone into detail. This happened in 1979. Literally, you know, when I was a child, I wasn't aware of it. It's not like generations. It happened in our own lifetime. And of course, the supposed Mahdi was killed in this battle, and all of his followers were executed. They were captured alive, and clearly he was in the Mahdi. There was no earth swallowing up an army. You don't play games with the Sharia. You don't put yourself, I am the Mahdi. No, it doesn't work that way. In fact, one of our scholars said, anybody who claims to be the Mahdi disqualifies himself from being the Mahdi. I repeat, anybody who claims he is the Mahdi disqualifies himself, because the Mahdi shall not claim it until the people give it to him, when all of these miracles happen. So to be very clear, there are many people now especially claiming to be the Mahdi. Any person who needs to send out tweets and YouTube videos, many of which are fake and AI and whatnot, and person who needs to talk about bizarre dreams telling you who is the Mahdi, it automatically disqualifies himself from being the Mahdi. Allahuakbar. I repeat, no person who claims to be the Mahdi is the Mahdi. The Mahdi shall not claim to be the Mahdi. Allahuakbar. The Mahdi will be a righteous person. He will run away from power, run away from fame. The people will love him. The people will respect him. The government will want to talk him. He's gonna run for his life. Then when you see that miracle happen, then you know, oh, this is a Mahdi. Until that happens, no, we did not directly get one final footnote here. Is it something that is completely unanimously agreed upon within our Sunni Islam? Response is no. This vast majority of ulama say yes, there is a concept called, throughout history there have always been some ulama, you know, minority, but they have been. Ibn Khaldun, for example, said all of the hadith of Mahdi, they are weak. And another scholar of the 70s, a great scholar, the chief judge of the state of Qatar, Abdullah al-Mahmud, he is actually one of the contemporary of Sheikh Ibn Abbas. He is the student of Muhammad ibn Rahim. He's coming from definitely the mainstream, you know. He's not an outsider. He was a very core defender of this idea. There is a no Mahdi in Sunni Islam. He said, and he's coming from that the concept of Mahdi is imported from this non-Sunni group into Sunnism, right? Interesting anecdote. He said this during the time of this incident in Makkah, and he was very public about this. These people, because there is no concept, and he said it in a public conference. In that conference were great scholars, Sheikh al-Albani, if you know, Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradwani, Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghazali, all of these people. Now Sheikh Abdullah al-Mahmud was senior to them in age, and he made a blunt statement, La Mahdiyata fil Islam. This is something that has come from the non-Sunni group and infiltrated our Sunni group. All of the hadith of the Mahdi according are weak and fabricated. Sheikh al-Albani said, I want to have a debate with you. As a young man at the time, a middle-aged man, and in the room was Sheikh Yusuf al-Qardwani and Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghazali and others. Can you imagine this, you know? And according to the people that were, I'm just listening, according to the people that were there, Sheikh Abdullah was not convinced, and he remained firm on his position. There is no such thing as the Mahdi. Now, interestingly enough, Sheikh Qaradawi adopted this position as well, and Sheikh Qaradawi also said, I don't. These ahadith as being authentic, and this is not something that we should believe in. Khair, that's their opinion. I respect their opinion. I'm telling you factually, the vast majority of our scholars, Ibn Hajar, Ash-Shakhani, in fact, great scholars of hadith, they said these hadiths are authentic. Default positions is that there is the notion of Mahdi. However, in our tradition, the Mahdi does not form a major basis of our theology. It's in the footnotes. As for the non-Sunni group, the belief in the Mahdi is of course central. It is the pillar of their theology. And for us, it is something incidental so much. Even if somebody denies it, the hadiths are not absolute. He is still within Sunnism. We have had, the concept is not authentic for our traditions. He is still within Sunnism. In any case, I wanted to conclude because there's a lot of confusion and people are saying this. Listen to me carefully. What did I tell you? If somebody claims he is the Mahdi, he cannot be the Mahdi. So understand this point here. I actually believe there is somebody called the Mahdi, right? But anybody who claims this right now is a liar. We will only know the Mahdi when we know when the sign come. And what is the main sign? That Allah will miraculously defend the Mahdi in the Haram itself, and the Kaaba shall protect this person. An army sent to kill him, that army will be vanquished without any bloodshed, because we are not allowed to shed blood, but Allah will cause an earthquake, and that Allah al-Qadr. When that happens, that is the sign of the Mahdi. Until then, final point. It came as a final point. One of our scholars mentioned, why did Sheikh Qaradawi not like? By the way, Sheikh Qaradawi, and I respect him immensely, Sheikh Qaradawi said, too many people have stopped political activism, thinking that the Mahdi will come and save them. And he said, this is not Islam. Even if there is the Mahdi or not, you don't just sit back and say we are gonna wait. You must try your best to bring about a better world. You must try to bring about better society, and when the Mahdi comes, good. But until the Mahdi comes, we all have work to do. And we cannot use the concept of the Mahdi to become immobilized, to become lazy. If the Mahdi comes, when the Mahdi comes, good for us. Actually, we don't. When he does come, We hope and pray we don't, but regardless of the belief, we still have an obligation to form a better society and to bring about as much peace and justice as we can. And with that, inshallah, I will continue next week. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.